right.
I'm not really looking all in that camera.
That's okay. You don't have to. You know, okay, we are here at the Veterans Affairs Medical Center. Today's date is December 20, 2012, and I'm here with Carolyn Collins, Carolyn Denise Collins, and Carolyn she served in the U.S. Army. Okay, so Carolyn, for the record, would you please tell me, let's see, when was your birthday?
May 14, 1957.
Okay, and what branch of the service were you in?
Army.
Okay, and where did you serve?
My first assignment was at Fort Eustis, Virginia. And then I went on a training exercise in Germany. And then I came down on levy. That was the year of 1980, same year. I came down on levy to go back to Germany. And I ended up going to Nuremberg. And that was my first duty assignment in Nuremberg, Germany.
And where were you living at the time? Before you went into service, where were you living?
I live in 519 Northwest 6th Street, Delray Beach, Florida.
And I take it you had graduated from high school?
Yes, I did.
Where did you go to school?
I graduated at Boca High.
Oh, okay. All right. And what year was that?
79.
Okay. Did you?
Excuse me, 75.
Gotcha. Did you go to college?
Yes, I went to Palm Beach Junior College. At the same time, I was going to nursing. I went to Boca Community Hospital training as a nurse's assistant. But I ended up, when I got a call from one of the Army recruiters stating that they liked my scores, and they asked me was I interested in going into service. And I said yes, even though in the back of my mind I was saying no, but I said yes. So I got the recruiter call me and came and picked me up at my house, my mom's house, and brought me to the office, and we sat down and they looked at my scores and they had me take another ABAP test. And after that, they liked my scores and it told me that I was eligible to go into the Army. And I ended up going for my physical and everything at Homestead, Florida.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So from Homestead, when you got done with the physical, was there a written test?
We did the written test. Everything was taken care of. We did the test here in Palm Beach.
Right.
And then we ended up going to Homestead for physical.
Right.
Check, make sure that you're okay, you're eligible to go in as far as
aptitude.
Your ability as far as health.
Oh.
Okay, so once they found out my scores was good, they asked, let me know that they had a date and time that I had to report back to Homestead.
Right.
And I ended up catching the bus to go to Homestead. And I ended up going to basic training at Fort Dix, New Jersey.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's where I was going. So, how long was basic training?
From November 79 to February of 1980.
Okay. Okay, so it was like 3 months?
3 months. But I couldn't report until like March of 1980 to my first permanent party, which was 100 transportation at Fort Eustis, Virginia.
Okay. So what was basic training like?
It was hard. Compared to what it is today, it's very hard.
It was harder then?
It was harder in 79 than it is like the training that these guys got doing now.
Yeah.
It's nothing compared to when I was in.
What was the training? What did you do? What was it?
It's just the physical training and the exercise and the articles and constantly training you, drilling you to get it down. It was just a lot harder, quick. They didn't let up. They didn't let up at all.
Yeah. How was the food?
The food was good.
And you did that in New Jersey?
Yes, Fort Dix.
And that was in the wintertime?
In the wintertime, and believe me, I must have prayed to the Lord every day in basic training. When I tell you, basic training was nothing to play with. It wasn't. And I thank God that the timing was right. I was glad that I went in because I was able to get discipline and have more respect for others and just respect, period. And I appreciated that that I was able to go in and serve my country.
Okay.
And I would do it again.
I hear you. Okay. So you were there for what about your drill instructors? You remember anything specifically about them, or?
I remember one of the Staff Sergeant Williams, Bell Williams. And I remember the Senior Drill Sergeant Abraham.
Right.
And I remember just a couple of privates, but that's about it. It's all gone.
Okay. All right. So I guess either one way or the other, you actually got along with your drill instructors and your peers, or how did that go?
Well, one of my peers had said something to me that I didn't like. Believe it or not, it was my drill sergeant was Sergeant Williams in basic training. I forgot about him, Sergeant Williams. And what happened was my drill sergeant Williams said to me, Private Collins, we didn't even know that you could talk because I was so quiet.
Right.
And I did everything that they asked me to do, but this young lady her name was she ended up being a PFC because she had went to college, finished college.
Okay.
Start with the D, Dukes.
Duke.
PFC Dukes. Okay, they gave her, she was in charge of us because she was high rank PFC at the time. And I'll take orders, but she was, for some reason, because I wouldn't talk and I was more quiet, she put her hands on me and pushed me up, telling, and I said to her, don't do that, because my mom was saying, if somebody push you or touch you in the kind of way, you're supposed to fight back, which that was wrong. But at that time, I felt like that was right because I didn't understand. I didn't feel like she should put her hands on me. So that's when my senior drill sergeant said to me, Private Collins, we didn't even know that you had a tongue that you talked because you were so quiet until now. So what they did was they made me do extra guard duty, which was okay, and then they ended up putting me on KP, where I had to go and wash big old pots and pans. And even though that was my punishment, but I enjoyed it because I never got to do the pots and pans. Only thing I got to do was sit there and say, I'm not gonna do this. And
what does that mean?
I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna wash no pots and pans.
That's what you told him?
That's what I told the sergeant that was working at KP, that was in charge of KP. I just said I wasn't gonna do it. The pots was bigger than me. I was a little something. So they just gave me, just cut up a couple of potatoes. I ate more than I did anything, so that was some good KP duty.
I gotta laugh. I
messed around and told the senior drill sergeant, it's okay, I like KP. And when he's heard that I like KP, he took me off.
Send me there anytime, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Trying to get extra portions, I understand. Okay, so let's see now. I forgot to mention, by the way, my name is Carolyn Cartwright. I'm the Executive Director for the Children's Coalition Incorporated. And so, now then, why did you join?
But what happened was the recruiter, like I said earlier, that gave me a call and said, we like your scores from that, because back then, they had recruiters came to visit the high school seniors.
Right.
And we was able to take the ABAP test. And they said they liked my scores. And so I got mad one day. I was mad at the whole world. And I felt like I needed to change. I needed to get away. And at that time, I guess it would meant just leave, go and go and find myself.
Right.
So I decided to, when I got that call and they asked me if I was interested, I said yes. And believe it or not, even though I said yes, but in the back of my mind I was saying no. But I ended up joining. Like I say, I'm glad I did join.
Right.
So I got a chance to travel and meet different cultures.
So what kind of MOS did you have?
Believe it or not, I was 64 Charlie at that time, which is transportation.
Okay.
And they changed it to 88 Mike.
What is that?
That's the same thing, but it's just with the 88 Mike, you get to drive. They changed all the vehicles into automatic. 64 clutch, which was transportation, where they had just stick shifts. So because a lot of soldiers was complaining that couldn't drive with stick shifts, so some kind of way they ended up changing it to 88 Mike, which is everything automatic. So I was able to drive from a Jeep all the way to an 18-wheeler, which is a 915, which is a tractor trailer. So I did that.
Okay.
Plus I was an administrative clerk.
Okay.
So.
All right. All right. Were there ever any casualties in your unit?
Oh, yes.
Okay, let's go back to the all right, so you in New Jersey, from New Jersey you say you went to Virginia?
Yes, there was no casualty there.
Okay, how long were you in Virginia?
Believe it or not, from 80.
Where were you?
I was at Fort Eustis, Virginia, which is which is Newport News, Virginia.
Oh, okay.
And the base was called Fort Eustis, Virginia.
Okay.
Yes.
What'd you do there?
I was a clerk when I got there. I didn't work in my MOS at that time, which is transportation. I worked as the oiling room clerk. So I did from, I want to say March or April. I can't remember, March or April when I got into 100 transportation. I was there, and then we went to a training exercise which took us overseas to Germany in 80. That was in 80. And when we got back, I was on assignment to go overseas, which is Nuremberg, Germany, in 81.
What did you do there?
I got into the unit, which was a transportation unit, which I drove 5-ton trucks. Did a lot of traveling and training.
Where'd you go?
In Nuremberg, we ended up going to, we did a support unit out of, I can't remember the unit, but we did a lot of training in Graftonville, and that was mostly all our training we did. Hornsfeld, we did a lot of training there. It was like a support unit, always taking other companies out, but at the same time we also had to train too.
What did your training consist of?
Learning, train to learn how to do our weapons, fire weapons, training exercises, learning to identify the enemy. And that was a must. And along with learning your MOS, so when it came down to take the test that we have to take once a year, you be updated on your MOS, your job.
Okay. All right, so was that a tour of duty, or just how long were you in Nuremberg?
I was in Nuremberg from 81 to 84.
Oh, okay.
That was a tour.
Right, yes, yes.
And from 84 I went to Fort Lewis, Washington. And believe it or not, I stayed there. I went to Fort Lewis, Washington, I want to say it was in the wintertime. And I ended up coming down that same year in 84, August, getting ready to go back to Germany. But in between being at my first duty assignment at Monteith-Barrett, that's where I was at, I was able to re-enlist at the time and go to First Transportation, which is a 915 unit, which is a tractor trailer company as well.
Where was it that you encountered a lot of casualties?
When I was stationed at Frankfurt, and that's where I encountered.
Now, was that why you were in Nuremberg?
Well, Nuremberg at first. Okay, I was at 100 transfer when the casualties went one of the tractor trailers was in Graftonville, and it was the mail truck, because we deal with mail and the commissary. And what had happened was one of the trucks had broke down. So one of the other guys, his name was Bennett, I'll never forget it. He volunteered to say he would go to pick him up, because that was it. The young man was in my platoon. His name was Unier, and Bennett the one was broke down. Unier the one volunteered and said he would go and recover, try to help bring Bennett back to Nuremberg. And what had happened was Unier must have got up on the trailer and must have working on it, and some kind of way the trailer and the tractor moved, and when it rolled, ended up running over his head. And that was the first casualty that, had a bad experience with that. And the next one was when I was stationed in Frankfurt at 122 MSB is when, and these guys I knew real good. Well, one of them died of pancreatic cancer. But the other young man, I just can't remember his name because I was trying to get it out of my head. He was my unit, my first sergeant, got his name, took him in a landmine when there was a desert storm.
Right.
And the trucks are, zigzagging, trying to get clear of all these landmines. And what happened was, they got cleared, but what happened was, like guys, soldiers sometimes they are curious, and one of them picked up a metal and was banging it on one of the trucks, and it exploded. And by the exploding, one got blown up to where put a big old hole in him, so he died, and the other was like the tread hit him, and that was something. But I see a lot of casualties when me being an NCO liaison, where a lot of the soldiers from Desert Storm was either they was dead or a lot of injury. I was able to see a lot of that, which did something to me. But
where was that at?
this is in Frankfurt.
How long were you in Frankfurt?
That tour was like 2 years. I had to get away from it.
Okay. So anyway, did you make a lot of friends in the service?
Oh yes, I was called, even though I was a sergeant.
Yeah.
But my NCOs, those friends, they used to call me baby girl, because I was like their baby sister,
Right.
and they looked out for me, and I met different cultures, and I was always invited to everybody's house, me and my son. So, yes, I had a lot of friends. Yes, I did.
You stay in touch with any of them?
No, I wish I could get in touch with them.
Yeah.
I used to, but moving around and they moving around, it's just, I never got a chance to, just one person I did. I keep in touch, well, to this day I still keep in touch with.
Right. That's good. At least one, right? Okay. So you, when you finished that, was it 3-year tour? And where else did you go in Europe? Only Germany?
Germany was my only overseas, and I spent like...
But I mean, while you were there, you didn't go to any other countries or anything?
I went to Czechoslovakia to visit, but in shop, in Wiesbaden, Graftonville. I went to New Amsterdam. Matter of fact, I won a trip to New Amsterdam, me and my son, for the weekend.
Oh, okay.
And used to do a lot of shopping. So I didn't just sit still. I did do a lot of traveling. Got to meet different people, different cultures.
And again, how was the food?
The food was marvelous. Believe it or not, I didn't know what a cordon bleu was until I went to Germany.
Okay, well that happens.
And the good funny part about it, I thought it was weird to see Germans eat pizza with the knife and fork.
Right, that was my first experience with
And
that
when
also.
I saw that, I couldn't believe it. I'm so used to picking it up with my hands. And
Right.
eat. But they eat with a fork and a knife.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Okay. Well, anything else specifically related to your tour in the European theater that you want to mention?
The theater?
Well, it's called the Pacific Theater or the European Theater. You know. So yeah, being in Europe. Anything else that you want to expound upon?
No.
Okay. All right. So when you were after that 3-year tour, where'd you go after that?
I went to, back and forth as we was talking, I went to Fort Lewis, Washington, and believe it or not, I didn't stay in Fort Lewis, Washington long. In '84, I went back to Germany, and I went to one of my same units.
How long were you in Washington?
From March of '84 to August, came down on levy just that fast.
What is that? Came down on what?
It's like came back, levy is like come back on assignment.
Oh.
And so I came back on assignment where I put myself on assignment because Fort Lewis, Washington, that just was another world that I didn't want to be in.
Cold and what else?
Fort Lewis, Washington, if you've never been there, you would not believe it. They have what you call autumn, fall, summer, and winter all in one day. I did get a chance to climb. Well, we went to Mount Rainier, and we was able to go there.
Okay.
We took a tour up there, and
Okay.
so I was able to go there to Mount Rainier. One thing I like about Washington State was that they have the Puget Sound, their
Yeah.
water
Yeah.
is so good,
Okay.
real good water. But the people, to me, are not as friendly. They're not as friendly.
Okay. All right. So you were only there, you said, from March to August,
Yes.
like 5 or 6 months.
6 months, yes.
Yeah. So then you wound up getting
Going
orders.
back to Germany,
Okay.
Nuremberg, to my my unit that I had left from was First Transportation, because I re-enlisted to First Trans, which is in Nuremberg, Derby Concern.
Okay.
Then I had came down on levy. I did that 3 years.
Another 3 years?
Yes, total of 9 years.
So what did you do the next 3 years, this next one?
Well, I went
Same
to
thing?
Frankfurt, and then I went to my last assignment was at Hunter Army Airfield.
Who?
Hunter Army Airfield,
Okay.
which is 416 Transportation Unit. That's in Savannah, Georgia.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
No, I'm talking about in Germany.
I was just there in Germany for a while.
So it's just the same thing all over again.
Same thing all over again.
And were you still watching troops come home, come back?
Not when I went back to Nuremberg. I mean, only time I got to see all that was when I was in Frankfurt, when there's a storm.
And you didn't go back there?
No,
Okay.
that was it.
So when you were there for the second time, did you travel in any new places that you hadn't been before?
Heidelberg, like I say, Heidelberg and Baton Rouge.
Is that in France?
No, that's just down the street from Frankfurt.
Okay.
Not too far from
Okay.
Frankfurt. Like I said, Wiesbaden, and also went to, it's a lot of other places I went, but it's just, right now, I just can't remember.
Okay, not a problem. But you traveled some more.
I got
You got
a chance
around.
to travel.
You got, okay, good. All right. Did you go home on leave or when?
Yes, that was a must because I had my son in 1983 when I was in the Army. And I did a lot of, when it was time for R&R, time to like go on another assignment, I went home. Being overseas is kind of hard to come home, but in the States it's not that bad. It's a little more easier.
Yeah.
So I was able to go home. Mom, glad to see me. So it worked itself out. Yes, I did get homesick, but I also knew that I had a mission,
Right.
that I had to, a job that I had to do. So I stayed focused. with my training, and also I was a mother, a parent, so single parent, so I was able to do both.
Okay. All right, so when you finished the second tour, then where did you go? In Germany, when you finished the second tour, then where'd you go after
I went, believe it or not, to Fort Dix, New Jersey.
Back to New Jersey.
That was permanent party, because the first time it was just basic training in AIT.
Right.
So I ended up going to my permanent party there in '87,
Okay.
and I stayed there to '89.
What'd you do there?
Believe it or not, I was an instructor to teach AIT, because I was in the AIT unit where we taught soldiers how to drive a Jeep all the way up to the biggest equipment as far as transporting, which is a tractor trailer, is called a 915, which it actually had like 15 gears, but it was a tractor trailer. So I was an instructor, and then when they found out that they needed a battalion mail clerk, I took the mail test, passed it, then I became 36th Transportation Battalion mail clerk.
Okay.
And did that, got awards for that. Brigade and battalion stated, it's in my record that the first time I was here, I had a inspection and passed without any problems.
Okay.
So,
You say you got an award for it?
yes, I did.
Yeah, tell me about your citations and your awards.
God, I got a medal. I can't remember all my awards I've gotten. It's just been
Got a
so
bunch,
long.
huh?
I have got quite a few.
Okay.
And a lot of them was because of my job,
Right.
And a lot of them just that, just.
Okay. Okay. So when you were away from your family, how did you stay in touch? Did you write or call, or what'd you do?
I did both, but mostly call.
Okay, most call on the phone, huh?
Yes.
Was there a lot of pressure? Did you feel pressure throughout your military career?
I had some pressure, but it's off the record that I don't talk about.
Okay, that's your prerogative. What'd you do for entertainment?
Well, we had like what you call NCO club.
Right.
But I'm not really a club person, so a lot of my friends always had like little get together, play cards.
Right.
Sometimes we'll go and bowl, or either go out and just go shopping, and just sometimes we have to play softball, just like what we do in civilian life, basically. But only thing in the military, you had to conduct yourself. Especially when you're in another country,
yes,
you have to conduct yourself. You represent the United States and armed forces, so therefore you have to be respectful, and you respect yourself along with respecting others. So, but overall, it was nice. I really enjoyed myself. I miss my friends.
I hear you. Okay. All right. Okie doke. Well, let's see now. So that we went up to 89, didn't we? But you said, what did you do from 89 to 92?
That's from 89 to 90. I went to Germany, and believe it or not, I stayed there. That's where I went to Frankfurt, and I came. Everything happened so fast. I remember coming back in 90. It was 90, 91, and then I went to Fort 16 Transportation Unit, which I stayed there till like August of 92. I volunteered and got out on the program that they had. That if you wanted to get out, you can get out early. So I ended up getting out in August of 92.
So that last 3 years you were still in Germany?
Really like
You went
probably
back there?
2.5 years.
Went back there again?
Yes.
Same job? Which job?
Went to another unit, which is the unit I was talking about earlier was 122 MSB. Then I left there and came straight to 416 Transportation, which is Hunter Army Airfield in Savannah, Georgia. And I stayed there from 91 to 92. Yeah.
Oh, and that was it?
That was it.
That was where you separated?
Yes.
What was it like those last days in the service?
I was scared.
What were you frightened
Trying
of?
to adjust the fact that you got to find a job, and the jobs wasn't easy. Not in Savannah, it was not easy at all. It was like a letdown in a way, because by you being in the military, being in the military to them didn't mean anything, and that hurt. Because not only was separated from the army, I also ended up with a disability, you know. And I worked for a while in a plywood company, which is Georgia Pacific. They was pretty good to me. And then I worked part-time as a postal clerk, processing the mail.
For the government?
In Savannah, just did that for a while. But anyway, I couldn't take it no more, very stressful, things was happening. I had like a little setback, so I ended up moving back home, which is Delray Beach.
Right.
And so I saw one of my old friends, and she was telling me that she worked at Office Depot, corporate office.
Uh-huh.
So I ended up going to working at Office Depot from 1997 to 2002. I was a credit specialist there.
Okay.
And then I ended up coming here in 2002. Started off as a switchboard operator. Now I'm in transportation.
Oh, back home again, huh?
Back home again. Yes.
Okay. What did you do in the days and weeks? When did you separate? 92, you were in, so you told me what you did.
92, I got out, and then I went into reserve.
Oh, okay.
And the National Guard. I went into the National Guard for the last couple of years, and then I ended up getting out.
Okay. Okay. Did you use the GI Bill for anything?
No, I didn't have any funds in the GI Bill, so I didn't think I would. I did at one time, but because of the hardship that I was having, I ended up taking my money out. To this day, I wish I wouldn't have did that. But anyway, I took my money out.
Okay.
So I had to do other things. It was hardship.
Okay. I had a few more questions for you. Good. Influence, military influence on your life. Did your military experience influence your thinking about war or about the military in general? That's one part. And how did your service and experiences affect your life? What kind of influence did the military have on your life?
It had, I mean, as far as my life, it was just, it was some good influence.
Okay.
Okay, some was very good, because I look back now, I just think that if I hadn't went into the military, where it come from the discipline part, I don't know where I'd be at today.
Okay.
So, if you want to ask what the military, as far as the impact, that will be, it's a good thing that I went in.
Right.
It made me a decent person.
Okay.
And it made me where I appreciate not only myself, but I appreciate others. Because when I first went, I had this attitude, and in the military, it's this old saying of, it can make you or break you.
Right.
So it made me what I am today. A lot better. I'm a lot better than I was.
Okay.
And I raised my 2 kids as a single mom, and I have a son that's 29 years old, went to Bethune-Cookman, graduated with honors.
Congratulations.
And I have a daughter that's 22, but she ended up going to Med Advance, and she graduated with honors. And I have 3 grandchildren, girls, one 8, Jalen. I have a 3-year-old named Jemiah and a 2-year-old named Jada. And I never forget one day my son said, "Mama, don't never let up off of me, because being a single mom is hard with boys." But my son saw how his friend boys, how they would do their parents, be disrespectful, giving them such a hard time. My son, to me, is compared to others that I've seen, how the kids are very disrespectful to their parents.
Right.
My kids are like angels compared to them. Okay?
Yeah. Last but not least, excuse me. Excuse me. Did you join any military organizations?
I joined, I kind of joined and I didn't join.
Okay.
You know, it's just, for some reason, I can't get into anything right now. I should. They had this program, this lodge that I signed up for.
Right.
But I never went to it.
Okay.
And that's something that I need to get into. I would love to get into a lodge and get to meet others, veterans, and do some things.
Well, it's not too late.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us?
Not at this time.
Okay. All right. Well, we want to thank you very much. Thank you for your service. And thank you very much for a very pleasant interview.
Thank you.
Okay.